Hey everyone, in today's video we'll be looking at one of my games that's at 800 where I beat a 2000 plus rated player, OTB. Now one thing I'd like to mention is I was pretty underrated when I was 800, but still I was nowhere near the 2000 level and I was also lacking a lot of experience. And going to the game, I started out with the white pieces and I played the London system. Now, as I say the words London system, I risk losing some viewers as people are probably clicking away, thinking it's a boring and solid opening where you won't see any interesting play. However, I would like to prove you wrong and show you that the London system can lead to messy attacks and tactical positions. And as an aggressive player, I have some prep that takes me into those types of positions. And in this game, my opponent plays the main line, London, where he develops the queen to b6 after playing knight c6 and c5, putting pressure on the d4 pawn and the b2 pawn. And in this position, I just take on c5, which is continuing the main line. And here, opponent takes back on c5, and that's actually an inaccuracy. Main line goes taking on b2, and here I play rook b1 with the ideas of later developing my bishop to b5 and then castling quickly, and white is getting lots of active play and lead in development. But okay, opponent takes on c5 and I play a3. And the idea of a3 is to play b4 and grab some space on the queen side and initiative against the exposed queen. And this is basically where my preparation ends. And my opponent plays bishop f5. The idea is basically threatening the c pawn, so I don't have time to play b4. However, in this position, I play c4, and here my opponent plays a5, trying to stop b4. However, that was an inaccuracy. Even though after d takes c4, when I take back with the bishop, I have a lead in development. That is the best way to go about because moves like a5 are too slow. And in this position, I don't play the most accurate way. I play knight b3, which kind of blocks my pawn and prevents me from playing b4 in the future. But really, it's not that bad of a move because here I'm still maintaining the initiative and I'm playing active chess, taking target of black's vulnerable queen. So opponent played a5 because he wants to keep his queen on c5 and basically still keep the queen side big clamped. But here I still go on trying to gain space. And now opponent plays queen b6, and here I should have played c5, continuing the march, gaining space, and once the queen goes back, then I play knight d4. And the idea is to get in bishop b5, castling, and this knight is kind of loose. Black is forced to play moves like rook c8, and as you see, black is responding to white's moves and really doesn't have much time. But okay, going back to the game, I instead take, which is kind of not the best response because opponent can develop his rook to the center file and pin my pawn to the queen. Here I continue developing bishop c4, protecting the pawn and getting ready to castle. Here opponent plays e6, putting pressure on the pinned pawn, and here I played d6 again, which is not accurate. And I mean, as I said, I was 800 back then, and even though I knew I had to keep the initiative and I knew I had to keep making active moves and developing my pieces, I wasn't that good and I was making inaccuracies. But as you see, there were still moves with the right mindset and confidence. And I wasn't thinking that I was playing against a 2000 rated player. And after he played e6, I wasn't scared to push d6. And here, opponent plays a4, trying to kick my knight, but I go into the center. And after he takes, and one thing I'd actually like to mention I forgot is I knew I would lose this pawn in the future, but I wanted to use this as a distraction to gain more lead in development. That was the idea when I played d6. So opponent played a4, move my knight into center, and when he takes back, I take on c6. Again, not the accurate, one of the accurate moves. Here I should have probably just simply took on d6, and after the rook takes back, I should have just grabbed the free pawn. But I overcomplicated stuff. I was trying to basically attack attack black's king before black could castle by opening up the position. And here I took on c6, and I could tell my opponent was feeling a bit unconfident in himself. Like he knew I was 800 and he was seeing these moves that I was playing actively, confidently, and not using much time, and he felt uneasy. And after knight takes c6, he saw that his bishop was also under pressure, And after queen takes c6, I quickly played queen e2. And the idea is pretty simple. I'm threatening to win the queen by pinning it to the king with bishop b5. So that was my idea when I took on c6. I was trying to use this king that was not castled yet, and I was trying to play aggressively. And here, opponent misses the idea and he just simply takes on f4. He tried to keep up with me, and he tried to stay up on time, and he just simply missed this idea. And here I played bishop b5, and now it, you might think, okay, now I'm winning the queen and it's all good and so on. But here our opponent plays bishop d3, and yes, I can still take the queen here. And after takes back, I play queen d2. But after bishop c7, I was kind of feeling nervy. I didn't see how to continue forward. Like my king was stuck. This bishop looked strong. Black had a rook looking, staring down at my queen, and black was ready to castle. And I decided actually not to take the free queen. And after bishop d3 to just take the bishop back. And here I'm still threatening bishop b5, and I'm still threatening to win the bishop. So black is still losing a piece, and in this position black castled and I'm up a piece. So I decided to go up a piece with black having pretty much no counterplay, instead of basically grabbing the queen and going to this line where I felt uneasy. Now here, if I just played knight d4, uh, white is actually simply winning, because if this bishop goes back trying to defend a pawn, I can actually just take the bishop, and once the rook captures my queen, I played in between move check, king goes out, and here I'm just up to exchange, and I should win this position. But however, I was feeling uneasy. I probably would have not found knight d4, and I think I made the right decision, taking on d3 and being up a piece, and black has no clear counterplay. Now, okay, black gets in knight d5, and I play bishop e4, pinning knight to the queen, and then I castle, and then here I allow this in between move, knight takes f4. I can't really take his queen because he takes with check, and then once I move, he goes, he wins back the piece. So here I just simply move my queen, and then he plays queen b5, and then here I was trying to simplify as quickly as possible and then just win an endgame where I'm up a piece. But this actually turns out to be a blunder, because black has the move f5, and here my bishop is actually trapped. Now another key thing I would like to mention is, after I realized my bishop was trapped, I didn't start panicking or thinking, oh no, my opponent is 2100, of course he's going to win, I blundered, anything like that. I kept my calm. I just walked away from my board for a minute, and I came back, and I decided to still play active and aggressive chess. In this position, I took on, I exchanged rooks, and this is a forcing move. He has to take back, and after that, I decided to play queen c7, counter-attacking his rook, basically threatening to win a rook with check. And here, black has basically only one response that's pretty good, and that's knight e2 check. And after I go king h1, knight g3 basically, and discard attack against my rook. I can't go back trying to defend it because then I'll get mated. The knight protects the queen. And here I had to be careful not to take with the f pawn, because if take with f pawn, check, and then knight has to block, and then it's getting iffy because the knight is pinned, the king is suffocating, and maybe even moves like rook d1 in the future or right now will put me under lots of pressure. So took with the h pawn, and yes, I still lose the rook, but I play king h2, and here after black moves his attacked rook, I have still two pieces for this rook, and I'm still pressing, and I'm still playing active chess. Yes, I did mess up, there was a hiccup, and I'm not as clearly winning as before, but I still continue to play aggressive and active chess with confidence. And here I took the pawn. At this point, I forgot to mention, we were pretty low on time, I think below 5 minutes, and I just quickly grabbed the pawn, forgetting my f2 pawn was hanging, and now kingside structure is weak. But okay, I continued pressing forward. Attacking black's weak pawn threatening to get closer to the king, and black doesn't care. He goes on to gobble the queenside pawns. I take the center pawn. After he goes king h8, I realized under low time pressure I had to keep making threats and attack his king, so he would have to spend time making sure he isn't blundering any checkmate or anything. So first I attack the rook, and once the rook moves away, I bring in the bishop closer, trying to restrict the king, somehow build some sort of a mating net. And after queen b5, I play queen e6, so just trying to keep my pieces together. And now if let's say the rook moves away, trying to just a uh, simple threat against my queen, I would actually just checkmate him or something. So I was trying to play on the clock while making active moves, making sure I didn't blunder. He attacks my queen, again just go back calmly. And he's also trying to do the same, just creating threats on my pieces. And as you see, there's a lot of shuffling back and forth, and eventually I find time to bring in the knight, more pieces against the king. This is why two pieces are better than a rook, um, farther away from the endgame, because it's two against one, and I'm creating more threats against the king. Here he plays h6, and I go back with h5, and here uh, I think black is simply losing here. Black doesn't have a really good way to stop all of white's threats. Here I come in with check, and here I actually double check, so my knight isn't hanging, he can't take it, and then this is mate. So looking back, his mistake was actually probably playing queen c5, not realizing the power of knight g5, because here I think white is threatening a bunch of forced mates. So he had to be careful. And going back, looking at the game, even after I allowed him to basically come back into this sort of position, I never gave up. Even under 5 minutes, I wasn't thinking about how my opponent was strong or how I messed up. I just kept my mind fresh, and I kept thinking, okay, we're low on time. How do I attack his king, and how do I make good moves under pressure and play actively? Keep making threats and making him think, and basically slowly maneuvering my pieces towards the king and using every single piece I had to attack his king. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you learned how to play. I hope you basically learn how to play active chess and start getting into that mindset. And if you're playing a high rated player, not to be worried or thinking to play solid, going for a draw. Play active chess. You never know what happens. And see you guys later. Bye.